Good morning. It's morning here in New Zealand. It is morning, and it's a good morning. See, with me, because today is today, right? Technically, I could argue that this is the best day in the history of the world because it's today, and so I quite like that thought. And so today I'll talk about this political party and some optimism I have about it. And so anyway, as I've said in another video, now this video, right, I'm going to talk about this political party thing. I'm going to talk about the policies a little bit, and then I'm going to go into consciousness, right? Because there's something that needs to be actually properly qualified, man, which is how to live. The reality of being outside the jurisdiction of the 8 laws as a whole society. Because we're already kind of doing that a little bit, and that's why they're called the silent majority. Okay? So anyway, my political party is called the TNIL, which is, it stands for the New Intellectual Landscape, right? And it's just the obvious thing, man. Of course, being outside the jurisdiction of anxiety is a new intellectual landscape, man. And it was quite curious when I first coined that term, that because I had, I've got these designs because I'm very passionate about engineering, and so I'd come up with all these designs, man. I'm always, you can't take the hat off basically if you're into the engineering thing, and so I've got these few things that populate the new intellectual landscape. There's a few things that populate it, few intellectual features in the intellectual landscape. And each one is evidence of life outside the jurisdiction of the 8 laws. And one of those things on the intellectual landscape outside the jurisdiction of anxiety is this political party. And so, yeah, it's going to be rather radical for people to deal with. And that's going to be a very great pleasure to watch, because it's only see, they've got all these anxieties, right, without even realising it, the human species, man. And as we've discussed, as it's been said, is because anxiety is culture shocked into existence by the event of birth, right? And then we don't talk for several years, right? And the baby that does not possess language that's the only thing it can think about, because that's the only data it has to process. And so it also comes along that baby starts watching people interacting, and media, baby that does not possess language is influenced by the media. As per, does courage get the vote of confidence, or does anxiety get the vote of confidence, right? And so those are the two paths that children go down. It triggers the mind to think, or it triggers the mind to react. Okay, and because of the nature of consciousness being only existing freaking now, we stay on these paths, right? And so anyway, so everyone's kind of tricked into it, and then the 8 laws start, and then we get the reality of the political agreement of the first 2 laws. And that stops, everything gets stopped at that point. Development of the human civilization has stopped according to the boundary set by the first 2 laws of anxiety, right? Which is, like, first law is you must conceal your anxieties. And second law is you must allow all others to conceal their anxieties. And this is down to the character of consciousness again. So at the quantum level of thought, what does that mean? And so what values are present at the quantum level of thought considering that political agreement? And this is why everyone thinks they only use 10% of their brain. So this is going to be a big surprise for everyone to know, because actually we use all of our brain all the time, and 90% of it is for the purpose of anxiety. Valuing their political agreement, right? So we've got the disclosure of the 8 laws on one side of the A4, and on the other side is the political parties' policies. And so, you know, through my amazing experience of computers crashing out, and I'm not keen to put the hard drive into this new machine and just yet. I'm going to wait a little bit because I'm sick of computers failing on me, man. It's just been this. There's 3 there now. There's been 3 that have crapped out. Well, one was a fail from the start, and so, but there's a file on it that's on this hard drive that's I've got all these policies. But I'm just going to tell you, kind of give you an idea, and yeah, later today I will be putting them down. And I don't need lots of them. People don't need lots of information. They need some conceptualized ideas, and then they can they can appreciate it, you know, because that's actually how the brain thinks, right? So something I've got to talk to you about, how the brain thinks, because there's been a bit of a misrepresentation about how the brain thinks, man, and it's this common belief, right? And anyway, so the political party policies, honestly, this is going to be shock treatment, man, because it's going to contest. It's going to ask the questions that have never been asked, right? So okay, so in the political party policies, right, of the TNIL, okay, there's a number of things specific to New Zealand, and like they wanted to build this monorail through the national park here in the South Island, which would be a absolute. This is a really good idea, considering the nature of the landscape. Right, it is, you go driving through there from Christchurch to the west coast. It is, you know, it's like driving through a cathedral. It's that magnificent, which is my kind of first impression. Mate, it's a great thing. And so, yeah, first policy, there's three types, right? There's must do immediately, there's must get around to straight away, and then there's stuff that we have to bring in order. Okay, so I'm perceiving it as a in that kind of way. Okay, and so first day that monorail will get the green light. Okay, see, they poo-pooed it. Nah, and so considering that, see, they use this poison called 1080 to kill the pests. In the national parks. You know, I'm thinking it's because this is what the Queen of England wants. She wants to keep people out of the national parks, actually. Okay, that's what she wants, right? There's something like that. There's something there that's not spoken that is dictating that outcome, and I'm not interested in that. So one of the policies of the TNIL party is to have the Queen of England, right, justify why she is completely absentee. I want her to qualify the relationship between her and this country as it stands today, right? Not history, not good intentions, not wishful thinking. I want her to qualify her. I want her to qualify the nature of the relationship today, where she's completely absentee, right? Now, the policy of the Tino Party of the first day is to heavily promote and widely disseminate the awareness of the 8 laws of anxiety. Totally, you know, all over the media, man. Okay, and I think you'll find that will have a very, very big effect on how this country functions. Considering everyone does it and they do what's wise according to the perspective within the jurisdiction of the 8 laws. And this is why we've got this world we've got, and that's why growth seems such a really important thing, and the government doesn't listen to the people, and you have the silent majority. It's called the silent majority, and the government pretends to represent the silent majority, but because of the values of anxiety, it seems that they have their own political identity separate to the community. Okay, and you can see their policy decisions over the years about education and about youth and about finance and about regulations. You know, everything they do, actually, this has an effect on everything that they do in all policies in all directions, particularly the means to articulate, because now this is the thing that needs to be disclosed, and it is a Tino policy to objectively qualify the nature of middle management. Okay, because the silent majority, which are the 99%, okay, have to deal with middle management, man. And but what middle management do, see, they have no control over the outcome. They have to rely on the silent majority to get the outcome, right? So they've got a lot of anxieties about that, and so it's particularly when they've got their the chain of authority and the corporate structure, which is all management things, right? This is all management, okay, systems, governance systems, and so the person at the top says, "Oh, I want this and I want that," and the person under them they're giving the instruction to starts having anxieties about how they can make that work. They don't know how to make that work. They guess. And they're sitting there listening to these instructions, which mainly is the tone of the voice. Okay? And they go away, they go away thinking, how do I make this work, man? You know? And so they start like walking taller, man, and so when they come to give the people under them instructions, they replicate that anxiety. Okay, top guy's got anxieties about how to make these ideas work. He sounds really confident and excited, but actually it's actually anxiety because he needs an answer. He needs an answer, and so behind the whole, philosophically underwriting the event of the senior management starting to communicate a new strategy to middle management, the whole exercise is giving anxiety the vote of confidence, right? And so when it gets down to the lower management of the people that engage with the actual workforce, right, they've got all these anxieties, man. And so long story short, the people in middle management are they're highly averse to communicating, actually. Because of this business of having to produce answers, results, they are highly averse to communicating. And that's why the paperwork thing's such a big deal. And because then the paperwork does the talking for them. They don't even need to talk to people. They just get the paperwork to do the talking for them, and then the people can communicate with them through their paperwork, right? And then they can have a short little conversation at the end of it. Okay, so that's what a job interview is like in New Zealand, right? That's what a job interview is like. Unless it's someone connected with the owner, unless it's a family-run business and they do things that way, it's going to be your middle management experience, right? And because that's what a job interview is like for me in New Zealand, right? And so a policy of the TNL is to identify that publicly, right? Because while everyone's going along with that, which they are, because there's no way of challenging it, there's no way of challenging it or mitigating the political reality of that event. You know, to the poor silent majority person that's trying to talk to them, is thoroughly insulting, because the silent majority are about courage, and we don't mind communicating. We quite like communicating, and so the process is really, really insulting, man. And at the moment, I've been waiting over a week. Got called up from a big firm about driving. Okay, no response by the next week, and so I recalled her, and said, well, I've been waiting for this thing, you know, and so it's a short time frame the job's open for, because of it. It's a seasonal agricultural thing, and so, and now, even now, after that phone call where she said she rang them up and found out that this person's supposed to be on deck, and he's not, and it's a week later virtually, and he hasn't called yet. And so this is evidence, right, that the management in that company actually aren't communicating, or the person that I'm waiting to hear from would have called me up ages ago, because he finds it very crucial. He acknowledges that I'm waiting to hear from him, right? He would acknowledge that I'm waiting to hear from him, and that would motivate him to actually consider that I'm an important person to him. So this whole business of being averse to communicating has the political optics of really being disrespectful and not valuing people, which is replicating anxiety. Okay, so it's done in that pattern again. And so TNL political policy is to identify that, right? And because it's about the young people, the youth, they're coming into the world and they're having to deal with this. And all this nonsense about, see, this business that Jesus is going to judge you by yourself, and you tie that up with, oh, people should be allowed to make their own mistakes. See, there's this massive lack of empathy. This is a major philosophical component in the philosophy of our civilization. There is a great lack of empathy at that quantum level of thought and at the interpersonal level. And this is evidenced by these processes that now are commonplace. You know, like Windows. Every time you want to do something with Windows, or are you sure? Why has the fucking computer got anxieties about what I'm doing? I give it clear instructions and it's questioning it, right? So this is actually the human nature being designed into software, right? And you get that a lot. You've got video games. You can tell when the engineers are got a bit of an ego thing and they do things in that kind of way, and then you get games that haven't got any of that, right? That are very high on service. See, it's that paperwork thing again. Some video games have a lot of paperwork type issues, and then some games are just, they provide that experience. And that management side of it is very much in the background somewhere, you know, and it's incidental. And it's incidental versus you know, they've considered it an important aspect to make that presence felt in the process, you know. So that's going to be brought up. But I'm thinking you'll find that when the public become aware of the 8 laws, the revelation of the 8 laws, a lot of things will just happen like magic, right? Like the crime rate will completely change, right? Because at the moment the police hardcore promote anxiety as wisdom because they've got to go into all these situations where people will hate them, right? And are going to be violent towards them. And because of their anxieties, they think that's every single time they go out. And that's just normal. And how the cops operate is normal to the criminals. And, you know, these people, these older people, there's no surprise there. But these younger people, that they learn to do that and they start working in with that. And this is this giant corruption going on. And so if the public are aware of the 8 laws, what's going to happen is the justice system is going to be sped up by 900%. So that's a T-nil political policy. This will have the effect of speeding the justice system up by 900%, because not only will a lot of these people commit crimes, because why they're reacting is because it has its genesis in an anxiety perspective, right? Being in that political battlefield that anxiety creates between people, this is what it does, and everyone knows this. So this is crazy thing, man. Everyone actually completely understands this anxiety thing and these 8 laws thing, and it's actually the only way they function, right? You know, and it's only through overwriting these certain things about consciousness that is the case. Okay, so if you change the perception of consciousness, if you make it real to people, then you can change all these other things that are a product. And considering I'm talking about the quantum level of thought, this is the whole world that's going to get changed, right? The whole world. Because if you can change the legal, if you can change people's nature, which is what anxiety has done to achieve its result. This is this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is just a freak accident, man, of sentient life form consciousness finding itself in this physical realm, which is the whole history of the human species. And we don't know, but this is all the animals. I think it's everything that breathes. And no one even knew this was going on, because that culture shock experience of birth, this is a freak accident, and everything has gone according to the outcome of the freak accident, right? And so this is just something. It's just something to be aware of, and so it will massively change everything. And so another policy of T-nil is we'll get all the headmasters, right, in the whole country, right, and we'll make a committee, right, a committee from their members of headmasters of schools, right, and they can design the curriculum of schools, not the Ministry of Justice, right. Those guys and women are heavily in love with education and educating children. That's all they got. They love educating children. They walk with consciousness, man, these people. These are great human beings, you know. And how they've been treated, man. You know, that had the pay thing for about 5 years. This Nova Pay outfit was handling the paying the wages of all the teaching staff in the country. Continuously made mistakes about their about teachers' pay, right? Continually for years, big mistakes in teachers' pay, and the teachers jump up and down and this is terrible. And, but you see, they were acquiescing to the problem because of the 8 laws. They're not actually allowed to say anything about it. They can complain all they want, but they know that they can't. They aren't actually allowed to pursue a solution to it while being within the jurisdiction of the 8 laws. And but the government ended up, stepping in and they changed it from this outfit in Sydney, Australia, to something new. And because the government wanted to leave the contract, they wanted to cease to be party to the contract with this company. They got paid out $30 million. So not only did they have a massive problem, they caused massive problems in this country, and which all the kids would have noticed big time because they love their teachers. Not only did that happen, but then they get paid out this huge amount of money, and so that's disgusting, man. And so, I mean, why is an Australian company handling this pay thing? See, that's something that goes on quite a lot, is people in charge, they replicate the function of anxiety to produce a result anxiety likes, right? Which is the insult and the disrespect that a company in a foreign country should manage to manage a clerical issue in this country. That this happens all the time in New Zealand. People get paid. Businesses pay their staff all the time. And so why are they doing it? Why are they doing it with this country? Because it's about promoting anxiety as wisdom. They have to promote anxiety as wisdom to seem like they're in charge, while the general public believe that anxiety is wisdom. Because that's what's politically credible, right? So being aware of the 8 laws revelation, right, that can all just stop. Okay, first time in history, that can all just stop. And so headmasters will design the curriculum. Teachers will design the paperwork that is involved in that curriculum. And that's the policy of the TNOL, right? Policy of the TNOL, the heads of district health boards, right, which is the regional management of the health department and hospitals, and these features, right, must be, the senior management must have doctors in it. Okay, the senior managers must have doctors. The CEO of hospitals must be a doctor. Okay, because at the moment, because they believe that anxiety is wisdom, mostly all of those positions in the management structure of the health system are bureaucrats, and they don't have anything to do with hospitals. They're not doctors. They've never been a nurse, so that has to change. And so the media will change. The policy of the TNOL party is that the media they're only allowed to speak the truth, and they have to verify the source. They have to verify the source. They have to provide verification of the source that it is the truth, right? Because they're always about passing off speculation as the truth. Like Trump's book. This book, that's totally passing off speculation as the truth. And they're doing it to actually ankle tap the government, right? they're taking advantage of the fact that courage acknowledges anxiety, and that's why so many people are interested in that kind of thing. Okay, and this latest one, while everyone's all freaking out about Trump calling a lot of countries a shithole, which he probably did not do, that's probably not the language he used as he says. Yeah, Hillary Clinton, the FBI have reopened 4 separate investigations into Hillary Clinton, the Clinton Foundation, and all sorts of people involved with it, right? They have opened that up like, you know what, man, like they should have done the first time. And so New Zealand media is all about that. It's passing off speculation as the truth. It's using innuendo as the truth, man. And it's talking to people like, it's using street logic, if I can say that, street logic to communicate, you know, what do they call it? Virtue signaling, right? Virtue signaling, which is that virtuous. It's virtuous to believe that anxiety is wisdom. It's politically correct to acknowledge anxiety as wisdom, and so that's all going to stop, man, because not a single young person likes any of that. They hate that, and so it's Tēnā Party's policy to remind young people of what consciousness is, because they still know, man, all these young people around there, that's why they're young people. That's why they act like that. It's because they roll with consciousness. So we'll be heavily supporting consciousness, like having a set time, any town you want, right? Any town you want. The Tēnā Policy Party is that the young car enthusiasts, okay, will be supported, instead of society being like this outcast group of society. Actually, it's the responsibility of local council to provide facilities to community groups. That is the entire purpose. That's half their purpose, actually, to provide facilities for community groups. Boy races, right, as they're called, right, they are a community group. And so I would say, like, I'm in Christchurch here, very strong, you know, car culture thing going on here. I would have a weekly cruise night, and I would organise drag racing between sets of lights at the best place. And it's not like the full strip, maybe just literally one set of lights, then hit the brakes, and so to support that, because what's going on with the boy racer thing is, right, is because they believe in consciousness, right? Now the car is it's an amazing piece of performance art, because there's all these aspects. There's the technology in it, which is very interesting, because you can modify the technology to make it perform better, right? And then there's the way the car looks. See, at the consciousness level, how the car looks, there's a lot of value to that. There's all this information that comes across because of the shape and different profiles and things like that. And so it communicates with the consciousness thing, right? And that's why the car thing is always so popular. And so that will be, the Tēnā policy is a very important aspect of the community that is going to go from being the outcast to actually part of the aristocracy, actually. Okay? This is the respect that it will get. And there's a wider forecast of that, where young people will start building their own cars. They'll have facilities provided to actually manufacture their own cars, and there'll be technology on hand. I'm talking about CNC technology, 5-axis CNC technology. There'll be, I think we should get involved with the way Americans build their trailer boats, which is they use a CNC router they have this giant block of foam, this proper special foam, And they use a CNC router to route out the shape of the hull on the deck. Okay, and then they it's a CNC router thing, so they go inside it, right, and then you can do your process on the outside of it, because that's your finished product, right, on the outside, and then it goes on, you do the next process, and then on the inside, then you can take it all out of the inside. And so I'm going to get them heavily into a culture of art, by having providing facilities for them to manufacture things that they need, and it will be done at cost, right? So that's that is to support the community's values and aspirations, and to actually nurture young people, because at the moment young people are treated like crap, and they're left to fend for themselves, man. And it's because of the rich people, the values that drive the rich people. They're very protectionist, and this is a hostile environment on the consciousness side of it, because they promote hostility to consciousness, because they don't want any change. They don't want any change. And all these social problems that exist need to stay exactly as they are for them to keep their thing exactly as it is. So to protect their political position, it's important that the social problems don't change. Okay? And this is the lay of the land according to the development of a society that is a result of being inside the jurisdiction of anxiety, right? And so this is why it's promoted as an amnesty, because this political entity they call the baby boomers, they don't want anything to change, right? And it's done at the instinctual level. It's not the conscious. It's not what they're saying. It's not the common beliefs. It's not the conventional wisdom. The actual economy of this is actually going on underneath that, where anxiety lives at the quantum level of thought. It actually starts from there, and the actual event happens there at the quantum level of thought, and it just comes out into thoughts, speech, decisions, beliefs, right? And so the thing is that the revelation of the eight laws is an amnesty to bring the wealthy people back into the middle class, because they're not actually wealthy people, they are anxiety people. Okay, they are anxiety people. They worship anxiety because anxiety is believed of as wisdom, and so they think they're being virtuous by behaving like an anxiety thing, where they have to have control. Okay, and so as a means to facilitate forgiveness on both sides, to just to remove this catalyst out of our experience, right? Then that enables them to come back to the middle class, and then they'll find out they actually don't need to be rich at all. They are just like everyone else. They want experiences. Okay, experiences. So according to the Ateneo political policies, young people will be provided experiences, the high quality experiences, right? Instead of thinking these low quality experiences are great, it's everyone to experience a high quality example, right? Because that relationship right there between youth and the baby boomers, right? That is your anxiety. That's your replication of anxiety right there. And so, as an example of how the T-nil will replicate consciousness and completely evaporate the existence of anxiety in the way people think, and this may change society to being much better. And so yeah, well, the T-Nil is about heavily supporting the emotional landscape, okay, because when the whole of the youth of the country see that someone in a political party is backing them, okay, that will make them collectively more cheerful, because so much has gone on to make them unhappy. So much has gone on, not only anxiety itself and these interpersonal relationships on how the Eight Laws works, and they always get subjugated. They always have to have Stockholm syndrome to actually exist with their own families, right? And so this will stop, because it's happening at the macro level, social policy level, regulations. This has had the total influence over those things as well. And so holistically, the whole of civilization is functioning according to the political correctness of anxiety, actually. And so that's, yeah, just to be aware of that. And so that's the policy as well. And okay, more political policy is to start manufacturing high value products in two directions, right? One is the ocean and the other one is in space. Okay, so technology to actually exist in the ocean, right? Okay, and then technology to go up into space. And the first thing I think I want to make, that should be made, is a space rubbish truck. Okay, if there's so much junk up there, rubbish, I think we should go and clean it up. And I think I'm going to do that. And see, they're a way of designing space vehicles, right? These, you know, they've got these. What they don't have is a single stage orbital vehicle, right? So that's something I've got some ideas about. And so I'll get the Maoris heavily involved in that, and because they know consciousness, man. Maoris know consciousness. And so once this event happens where people become aware collectively as a society of the revelation of the Eight Laws, I'm going to engage Maori into that, like big time, because they actually are very strong proponents of consciousness, which is why they get ankle tapped, and that's why they look stupid on the news, man. It's easy to make them look stupid on the news when so many people validate that belief. And as has been found, there is the belief that anxiety is wisdom, and fighting for the virtue of anxiety. Okay? And so that's all going to change, right? And so yeah, that's another policy. And we've got to, the T-Nil policy is that New Zealand should be doing things for the joy of achieving something great. Okay, so we'll probably make, I think, the aircraft thing, and there's this whole range of ideas about what will wealthy people do if they come back, like in a political sense, if they come back to the middle class, right? And so I think what I'll call it is a money house businesses. Okay, money house business. So if you've got $10 million, okay, you should be thought of as a successful person, and people do appreciate them as that. But I think if you've got $10 million, right, you have to start a business that employs 7 people at $50 over the minimum wage, right, a week, right, to do anything you want. Okay, and I think this, once the penny drops, they can have this workforce that are trained specifically to make their favourite thing. And that could be making copies of antique motorcycles, or making copies of new motorcycles, or making copies of Rolls-Royce V12 engines, because there's hardly any of them around. Or, the supercar thing, making replica Ferraris, making a replica 2017 Ferrari. It sounds like a really hard job doing something like that, but if you break it down, okay, to its components. It's a case of it's doing simple things properly, okay, and I think that's entirely achievable. Because you remember you're training people specifically about one thing, okay, and so the process is that they should be aware of the 8 laws. Then they will be able to actually act and think according to consciousness. And then education is very easy after that. You're soaking up stuff, man. It's a joy to actually experience, right? And so the money house business, that's a way that wealthy people's money can be utilised where they don't lose any money, because after a while, you know, if you make a replica of a $2 million car, you're probably going to earn something out of it. And so a lot of these activities will become very, very profitable. Very profitable. And it's a way to actually have a change where things that seemingly were not a good business proposition may become viable, right? They might become viable, okay? And so, yeah, because I've got like my company, my things I've designed, you know, that's thousands of employees, man. If I do all that, there's 13 ideas that I've designed while being outside the jurisdiction of anxiety. And previous to that, I was very familiar with mechanical engineering, hydraulic systems, electric systems, computer systems, you know, all these different technologies that go into machines, right? And so I've designed all these things while outside the jurisdiction of anxiety before this qualification existed. You know, and so that'll all come online as well. And you'll get a lot of people that start dreaming up stuff as well, like I have, because it's just a standard feature of consciousness is to think up new stuff. All right, that's what it's about, man. and so that will happen as well. So it's not a matter of a few policies. It's actually how the whole, you've got to view it holistically. And so just being aware of the 8 laws, right, will completely change how the game's played, man. Just changing how people communicate. If can be removed these anxiety-driven politics of self-interest that actually happen at the quantum level, that completely undermine relationships, man. Totally. As per what you can have, just removing that's going to completely change. It's like bolting a supercharger and a turbocharger onto the economy for a start, because that's the nature of the thing. So vastly improved conceptualized ideas, right? Vastly improved means to articulate, okay? Vastly improved relationship between management and staff, okay? Vastly improved means to perceive problems, which is why people get hurt. Okay, so maybe a whole lot of people won't get as hurt. They'll be able to see it coming over the horizon and they'll not do it. They won't go there, particularly on motorcycle riding. And the whole road toll thing is always a big deal. And so that'll all change dramatically if at the quantum level people start actually thinking with consciousness instead of anxiety. That's going to have a major impact on how we operate motor vehicles, right? And so that's just an outlook there of the political party and what's coming. So I'll hand out these flyers, and then people will begin to know, people will become aware, and then they'll take it seriously because it's a political party thing, and the political aristocracy of anxiety can't stop that, and so they'll have to engage with it. And as soon as they become aware of the 8 laws, game over for anxiety politics in their mind. It stops because they'll start figuratively holding it in their hand and looking at after they're aware of the qualification, they will have to start perceiving it as a separate thing, because it's making it a virtually, it's conceptualizing it in a kind of a physical way. It completely undermines the overlapping anti-tamper measures, right? And so they'll immediately start thinking anxiety is a separated from themselves thing. And so this is the nature of the game, right? And I'm quite excited to see that. So after I start releasing these pamphlets, there's only going to be a few now because I haven't got enough resources to print lots and lots, right? Yeah, the ball should start rolling after that. People will be freaked out by what they've heard. I mean, I was talking to this guy down the garage there the other day about the story in the newspaper, and we started talking about it. I started telling him about the 8 laws and how it's undermining, how we think, and it's this giant science fiction freak accident, man, of nature, all that. We spent like a quarter of an hour talking about it, and he was enthralled with it, because this is, I mean, you may well have had that same experience, right? And because he, like everyone, has consciousness which has never felt safe to come out, and so as I speak from consciousness to consciousness knows it's safe to exist, right? And so it comes out, and then that's a great thing. It's a magic thing. And because in New Zealand we call it tall poppy syndrome, where it's actually legit to actually emotionally ambush people who have been successful in some way, had a good day, won on a sports field, and so the kid might come off the sports field having the team having won, but the parent gives them, when he goes to tell the parents, he gets the put down about something not anything to do with the sports. So not only is it like completely his success has been completely ignored, but how he feels about that success is also just stopped in its tracks, because he's being ridiculed for something, right? That is the nature of the 8 laws. That's the nature of the 7th law, and the 8th law, and the 5th law, and the 6th law, and the 5th law, and the 3rd law, and the 4th law, just to tie a nice fucking bow on it. So that can all stop. And so that's pretty cool, man. And because I've lived life, man, and I know all that goes on. That's exactly what goes on. And so here's the time where it all was going to stop, and nobody sees this coming. Nobody sees it coming because of the way the 8 laws work, and the way the reality of belief, of the common belief that anxiety is wisdom, facilitated mainly by religion. No one has seen this coming. No one's going to see this coming. This is a beautiful thing, man. This is the perfect coup over something that nobody could even speak about. Nobody could speak about anxiety. No one could actually talk about it. No one could say anything bad about it. And this is the perfect coup to completely not only overthrow anxiety as the moral authority of society, and evaporates it from existing as well. Oh, I'm pretty happy about that, man. I'll tell you what. I'm liking that. Because I want revenge, people. As you may well have felt in the past, I want revenge on anxiety. It's not these people that treat you bad. It's the anxiety that's driving it. It's the beliefs that are driving it. And because ordinarily people don't even know each other. They know their anxiety state, their anxiety position, where they are in the anxiety political landscape. That's how people know each other, right? And so that's the policy. And so there you go. That's the thing. See, I wanted to talk about consciousness as well, but I'm going to leave it. I think I'll end it there somewhere, because that's that troubles me how to articulate that, because this is what the moment requires, right? This is the art of conversation that consciousness must be given form and political status, and consciousness needs to be shown a bit of love. Yeah, I think so. And so there you go. And I've thought of something about religion that might help if you want to question reality. Is it that you need to have faith in religion because it's actually theoretical? It's a theoretical thing, and so that's why people have to have faith in it. You know, and there's something that came to me, There's something that came to me, and so that's something to think about. So that's what I'm saying. That's the political party. If you want to contact me by my email, please do, to donate, because this is a bit of a big job I'm on, man. Because it's not only in New Zealand, because this process of this political party thing that I'm doing, this can absolutely be replicated anywhere. Okay, you can actually do this anywhere, because the same problem exists everywhere, the same situation exists everywhere, in every fucking corner of the world, right? So you can take this revelation and format it as a political party, right? And it will have the same effect, I think, as everywhere else. And so we'll see soon. I'll print these things up. I'm not sure it's Sunday today, so I can't today. And so probably, because I've got to go to a shop. I haven't got a printer. I've got to go to a shop. And so I'll do that, and then I'll be handing them out, and then it should be quite astonishing what might transpire. So yeah, anyway, the email's there, gixxrk6@gmail.com, gixxrk6@gmail.com, and you can contact me, and that way you've kind of registered. It's not so much a political party, but you've registered with the free world. Actually, you've registered citizenship in the new political landscape. You've registered citizenship in the new intellectual landscape. And so, I mean, more broadly, I'd like to see the entire silent majority of planet Earth join the new intellectual landscape, and that puts these big aristocracy features on the periphery of society, rendering them the status they deserve, which is that of an appliance. Okay, that's the banking system, that's the media, that's the government. It really is an appliance according to the aspirations of the silent majority, right? And so I'm going to put that in formal terms, and that's what's coming down the road. That's what's coming in down the road, man. And then the UN the UN, man, it's over for them, man. They're idiots, man. Because they only operate according to what people believe, and so that's why they are all within the jurisdiction of the 8 laws. And so, anyway, that's the political party, man. Peace and love, people.